Hey, my 540 class. So, little change in scenery. I am now home. Lighting's not as good. Sounds not quite as good, but the information will still get across. And I do have this cool backdrop. This is Johannesburg. It's my city. So, yeah, let's get to it. Your first assignment, now that you have a little bit of a better understanding of Premiere Pro, or even if you have been editing before, maybe the last video was a good refresher. Now, first assignment, this whisper fan ad. Say that fast 3 times. And what that is about is it's an ad for this fan. There are some extra files that come with the footage that you download. And on that note, if you haven't already read the assignment sheet, stop watching, go read that, then come back to this. So, what you're going to be doing, editing together this 30-second piece, and it is your job as a video editor to make it look realistic as possible. It's a pre-scripted piece. There are some production assistants running around, some little strings and chords that shouldn't be there, camera adjustments, and camera adjustments aren't specific to pre-scripted work, but they are there. It's your job as the editor to cut all these things out so that it looks realistic, right? I'll be going through the files in a second, but something that I would like to note about video editing in general as a rule of thumb. So, shot length. Shot length and pacing is something that will become instinctual to you. Maybe it is already. If it's not, some rules to follow. Typical shots are between 1 and 5 seconds. So, a close-up can be like 1 to 2 seconds, because close-ups, they don't have a lot of information and it takes the human brain less time to process them, whereas wide shots can be up for longer. Now a 5-second shot, anything 5 seconds or longer, better be awesome, because 5 seconds is a super long time in video editing. So be aware of that. I'm going to switch to my screen recording in a second, and we're going to go through the files. Once you have downloaded the WhisperFan files and unzipped them, this is what you will have. Here's the paperwork. This is some information on edit stock and the usage rights for the videos. Here is a treatment, so be sure to take a look at that. This kind of storyboards the shots out and says what they have in mind. You do need to follow this roughly. Obviously, your video needs to be more than just 7 shots, so include some more stuff in there, or have some creative freedom. This is more to help you than anything else. Then also some additional info. Here is what they did before they actually filmed it. This is really typical in corporate or pre-scripted videos, where they will do a cheap rendition of what they plan the video to look like and have this little plan here. So be sure to check that out. Next, you have all your media files over here. You have the edit stock logo. That is not required for this project. There's no need to put it in there unless you plan on sharing it on a reel or something like that. Information on that is in here. Then you can put that logo in there. Then we've got our graphics, so our logos and that type of thing. Our scenes, this is where we have all our video and sound. So SFX, that stands for sound effects. FX is the video term for effects. And this is VO, also known as voice over. So there's a nice little voice recording. The script was in one of these files that you're going to put underneath this video. Okay. Looking at some of the footage over here. So let's take a look at what we got. So we've got somebody doing some folding over here. And we have the flight entering the fan. So let's see if we can get what I'm talking about here. See, there it is. We have the production assistant coming in to fix something. They do a few takes of it where it doesn't look quite right. So basically they're trying to create something that is not really possible. So this is a pretty good shot, but in some of them, you can actually see the cord that is there. There's a little string, and now, of course, now that I'm talking about it, I can't find that footage where it was really visible. But there's a couple shots where the little string between the fans is visible. Maybe it's in here. Here it's not too bad. But if you do find ones where the string is visible, you don't want to include that. Then you also have the little production assistant coming in. Over here is this guy. He's not meant to be in it. Thankfully, they have already done the video effects. So the VFX stands for video effects, because it would be very difficult for you to do that as a new video editor. So that has kind of been graphically done for you. So take advantage of that. Cool. So it's all kind of broken down into different takes and scenes, if you will. So make sure you go through the files. Typically, the first step in video editing, as I mentioned in the previous video, is you want to have some sense of file organization. So if we go to my documents over here, I have the Whisper fan footage, and then I have my Premiere stuff over here. And then looking at the project, I have my files that I've already imported. You may want to reorganize them yourself, but with any video project, you need to watch all the footage before you start editing, so you know what you're dealing with. You weren't at the shoot, you need to know what you have to work with. You need to know what they had in mind. Obviously, the treatment that helps with that understanding, but watch through your footage. Then drag it down onto the timeline one at a time, like I showed you in the last video, to edit your story together, edit your little ad together. So within 2 seconds of 30 seconds, so it's between 28 and 32 seconds exactly. And something very important, read through that assignment sheet. Like I said, you should have read through it already, but double check that. Also read through the rubric. You should be using as a checklist. This is what I'm using to grade your projects, so use it as a checklist. Also, you need to do a little write-up to submit with a video. This has the client product evaluation. So what is the product? What is the client? What are you doing? What is the point of this video? What is your target audience? Some demographics of the people who would buy this fan. You know, where would they see this video? Any demographic information you think would fit this. So this is not information I'm giving you. You have to think critically for yourself. Here. And then a brief description of the final video, why you made the editing choices you did. So think of this like a rationale, right? All the videos, they're all going to look different. I give you the same footage, the videos are going to look different. So why did you choose to make the decisions you did? Some extra info over here. That pretty much covers that. Things I'm going to go over next week, audio. So if you don't know how to edit audio yet, I'm going to go over that. And if you do know how to edit audio, I'm going to go over the requirements that I have for this. Audio files, just to give you a little brief start on it. So we have sounds over here, we have our voiceover. It behaves just like a video file. Just make sure that you are dragging your video file down onto the timeline first. So you're setting up the frame over there. And you want to zoom in a little bit so those black bars go away. I just double clicked on there to bring up that, to zoom a little bit. But then you add your audio and you can add it in there. It works just like adding in video. But I will teach you how to balance the levels of that next week. I'll also teach you about exporting. No transitions in these videos, please. You may be able to convince me with that you need to use a simple crossfade, but no wipes, whips, pans, anything else crazy like that. Every shot that you put on your timeline should have purpose and should forward the goal and the purpose of the project. 30 seconds isn't a lot of time, so use it wisely. Cool. Well, that is an intro to the first project. Make sure you read through everything and have some fun with it. Look forward to seeing what you come up with.